Hello and welcome to the Timeout Podcast, the show where you're guaranteed to have a blast. I'm your host, Felon Love. Now, before we dive into today's big topic, let's hit you with a little teaser. Have you ever wondered what a college football player goes through from the day of their last college football game until draft day? Well, stick around because in this episode, we're going to unravel the mysteries of the 2024 NFL Combine. But that's not all. We have a fantastic guest with us today, our good friend. He's an expert in NFL combine training, a trainer himself. He is a graduate of the University of Kentucky with a degree in kinesiology, a 2009 NCAA college football All-American fullback, former NFL veteran who was a 2010 fifth-round draft pick to the New York Jets, owner of Unbreakable Lifestyle, John Connor. Hey, John, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, man. How about yourself?
Great, man. Thanks for joining us. And real quick, for those of you who like to follow along, today's episode is titled 2024 NFL Combine with special guest John Connor. You can find the show notes, links, and additional resources related to the episode in the comments. Please do not forget to smash those like and subscribe buttons. Insert and leave us a comment. Let us know how we're doing. We appreciate the love, and we fully intend to reciprocate that. Now that we've set the stage, let's dive into the topic of the day. In this segment, we're going to explore the differences between NCAA collegiate strength training programs and NFL combine training programs. Our guest, John Connor, spent a lot of time working out with his strength and conditioning coaches while playing both college and NFL football. John also spent time training for the 2010 NFL draft. So we wanted to know what John's process was like finding an NFL combine training program and his overall NFL combine training experience. So can't wait to kind of jump into John's analysis. So John, what was that process like? Finding the NFL combine training program? Where did you go? What kind of relationships did you build? What's that like for a college athlete?
Yeah, man. So like my process is pretty easy. Like I knew from the time I was in high school, like if I was gonna get to that point to have an opportunity to play in the NFL, I knew I was gonna train at the time Ignition. Cliff Marshall, he's been my trainer for the longest time, mentor, really good friend of my brother. You know Cliff pretty well, I
Yeah.
know. But that was who I wanted to train with. Like there was no there was no other interviews. Like that was that was the guy, man. So just a really good friend of mine. I learned so much from him. He's pretty much the reason why I do what I do now. I'm actually training guys now for pro days and combines and that type of stuff. I train, high school kids and middle school kids, elementary school kids, and so that was pretty much my process for that.
I want to get into some of that later. The training process and the different skill levels of the training process and the athletes that you train. First, though, I want to talk a little bit more about how you got connected with Cliff, and then really what his day-to-day combine training experience really looked like. And if I recall, there were some really, really big names, some really good players that came out of that combine class. Who were you in there with, and what was the day-to-day work, the day-to-day grind like?
Yeah, man. So like I met Cliff. I want to say when I was like a freshman in college, maybe I believe, and I met him over at the old Ignition location that was over in the Blue Ash area, and I was coming off an injury, doing some rehab, and he was the new strength coach there, the new performance coach there, and that's kind of how we got connected. We built a great relationship over the years, and I mean, he's really helped me just become an even better athlete, just because of his knowledge and because of his love for training. And like when we started training for the combine, it was like an all day thing. So we would wake up early in the morning. We might do our run first. We'll go off. We'll have lunch, maybe do some yoga, stretching, that type of stuff. Then we'll come back maybe in the evening. We'll get our lift in. And then after that, it's like we'll have dinner. We'll sit down as a group of guys. We'll have dinner, and then it's bedtime. And it was like an everyday thing. We had something to do every day, and it was run very well. We were down in Naples, Florida. We were the first class to go down into Naples, Florida. We had guys like one of the notable guys. We had guys like Devin McCourty, who just retired from the NFL, played with the Patriots, big name guy. But we had Corey Peters, guy I played with at UK. Doran Dickerson. We had a good number of guys. We had a pretty good group. A lot of guys that went to the combine, did well, tested well, broke some records. So it was a good group, man. It was a great time, great memory. Being out, trained on the beach some days, which made it nice. So it was cool, man. It was the group wasn't too big to, so that you could get your one-on-one coaching at the same time. So it was good.
Yeah, and I want to get to that also when we talk about the development of the athlete later too, the importance of one-on-one coaching and how much of an improvement an athlete can make with one-on-one coaching as opposed to group training. But you talk about having a little bit of a beach training, a sand training. We have a video I kind of want you to assess later, but what is the importance of sand training? What is that teaching an athlete? What are you training an athlete?
Well, a lot of times we'd be out there with no shoes on and or no socks or whatever, and it kind of strengthens your feet, it strengthens your ankles. It just gives you an extra advantage when you go to the actual field. So I think there's some benefits to it, just strengthening those joints and strengthening your feet, working on that push off on the ground and everything. So
that works. You're saying like ankle stability, a lot of
absolutely.
Yeah, prehab type of injury prevention type of techniques. You think that so you're saying working in the sand, as far as your expert opinion,
is force you to pick your feet up more, force you to drive your knees up more. Even sprinting in the sand, it's a lot harder than sprinting on the ground. So I think it has some benefits for sure.
So when some of these kids coming out of college going to the NFL draft this year choose a combine program, or do you think they're looking at things like that? Like, I get an opportunity to train in the sand. Are they looking at their training outfit saying hey man, these are like they really know what they're doing. They're doing a lot of deceleration. They're doing is that what they're doing when they're looking for an NFL combine training program?
I think so. That's what I would look for, not just the location. I think a lot of guys get wrapped up in, I want to go to these big name spots. And the thing with that, I don't think there's an issue with that. They do a great job. But at the same time, if you want that one-on-one type training, if you want to get evaluated, if you want to get just get like good feedback after each rep, and you're not competing with a bunch of other guys or big name guys, I think going to some of these smaller training facilities won't be a bad idea, as long as they're doing everything correct and like you feel comfortable there. And I think a lot of guys they want to go train out in the beach or go train in the sun, or Florida or Arizona, which I trained in Florida, which was nice, but it was good because the group wasn't too big. And I think if you train somewhere like Ohio, it's not the most ideal spot. It's going to be cold, but at the same time, there's no other distractions. There's no, only thing you're going to worry about is football, training for football. So,
right. And I would have to assume in that, at that point of your life, there could potentially be some major distractions. Real quick, John, before we continue, I'd just like to take a moment to thank our sponsor for making this episode possible. Their support helps us bring you this content week after week. Today's episode is brought to you by Unbreakable Lifestyle, your go-to source for all your exercise needs. With Unbreakable Lifestyle, you can get one-on-one group training, remote training, virtual training, and workout programming. Unbreakable Lifestyle provides experience and expertise and personal training and athletic performance training. They train athletes and people of all ability levels. If that sounds good to you, visit www.unbreakablelifestyle.com. John, now that the combine's over, what's the process going to be like for most of these athletes from now until rookie minicamp?
Right now, it's just about staying in shape, and some guys they might want to run again at their pro day. There's something that they didn't do well at the combine. They might want to say, all right, well, my pro day, I'm going to run my 40 again. I'm going to do my L cone or my pro agility type stuff. Most guys are going to do their position drills again at their pro day. So, but after that, man, it's like that's probably the last time you're going to have to worry about setting up for a 40-yard dash or doing some of these drills that you got to rep every single day. So really it's just about staying in shape and waiting for the draft or waiting to see who picks you up, and just be ready to go whenever your name gets called.
Amen. So tell us about the difference between the training as training for football, right? Like you did for Your 4 seasons at Kentucky, correct? You train for football when you go into the weight room. Now all of a sudden you graduate, you're going into the draft. Your training switches completely. You're not really training for football anymore. You're kind of training for your position drills, your cone drills, for kind of some track, straight line, more track speed. Take us through the difference in that training and what combine training is kind of all about as far as like introducing new stuff to football players in the weight room.
Yeah, like so with the combine training, you're going to be repping these drills that you're going to be doing on the combine so much more. And you also got to make sure you're doing your position drills as well, because you're definitely going to have to do that. But doing 225, your 225 bench test is more of an endurance type test. So really, you're going to be doing workouts catered to training for the 225 rep test, because you're not going in there maxing out or anything like that. It's an all out rep. You know, how many times can you get 225? And you're still doing leg workout. You're still squatting and doing all that stuff, but you're doing a lot of explosive type movements, plyometrics, a little bit more than you probably normally would, because you got your vertical jump, you got your broad jump, you got all that stuff. So, but when you transition to your football training now, okay, now I'm getting ready for mini camp. Now, okay, it's time for me to really work on my position drills. If you're a receiver, you're running routes, you're catching balls out the judge, running backs, you're working your reads, you're catching the ball out the backfield. Like for me, it was good for me to try to find a quarterback to, just work on like my routes and finding like a dummy, like working my blocking, working on my technique and all that stuff. So really, I think it transitions to more technique and more position based drills after the combine.
So I got to ask, man, you graduate from Kentucky, you get drafted by the Jets. My understanding was Coach Rex Ryan was watching film of a teammate of yours and saw you fill a gap, said, "Who's this guy?" And from the rest was history. 5th round, they chose you. HBO Hard Knocks is filming on location that season. You come in as a rookie, a 5th rounder at that. And you kind of become the star of the show, John. The Terminator. They're showing you helicopter people. I'm smashing. And as somebody that knew your beginnings, man, that really, I remember being so, excited for you. But I've always always loved, brother, always loved. But I've always been enamored with like, what that process was like for you. That's a major media market, New York. What was that process like for you? You're a very humble guy.
Yeah, it was crazy, man. Just especially coming in as a rookie, a 5th round guy. I'm like, in my mind, I'm just trying to make the team, man. So it was crazy, man. Just getting that footage and especially being in New York. And I just remember guys saying, I've said this before, like guys would say, man, you're the most famous fullback I've ever seen because I got so much just like notoriety and like people were like wearing my jersey, like a fullback, man. Like it was crazy. It was a lot of fun. Definitely put some pressure on me as well. Just, wanted to perform and wanted to do well for my team, man. But yeah, man, I'm just a guy who was trying to make the team, bro. And like, I love to play. I'm a physical player. So, yeah, it was a crazy experience.
Yes, it was so fun to watch. I always wondered how your teammates responded because you are a 5th round. It seemed throughout the process when you watched Hard Knocks, you were definitely humble. But did you have any teammates that kind of might have had didn't like the attention that you got, or were most of them pretty accepting of you?
If they didn't like it, I wouldn't have known. It seemed like everybody was pretty welcoming and like they were okay with it. And I had a lot of respect as a rookie. A lot of guys, they might get messed with or like they might get hazed or those type of things. I never had that. I might have had to buy dinner a couple times, but none of the crazy I had a lot of respect as a rookie. And I guess guys were like, yo, I'm not messing with this guy, man. This dude is not messing around out here, man. He out here knocking heads off, man. So
as a man, like when other men respect you like that, like it makes you feel type of way for sure, bro. And you earn that respect. You earn that respect.
That's what I wanted to do, man. I wanted to earn that respect, and I don't want people to think I'm a pushover. I'm coming here to play football, man. I'm coming here to make the team and do what I got to do to help this team out.
That's awesome stuff, man. Thank you for that. So back to your alma mater, the Kentucky Wildcats had a pretty decent showing at the NFL Combine this year. They had running back Ray Davis, quarterback Devin Leary, who really impressed me, quite frankly, in his throwing drills. Kentucky was also represented at the 2024 NFL Combine by Trevin Wallace, Andrew Phillips, and Jeremy Flax. Just knowing you, I know that you love to see Kentucky get some love, man. Were you pleased with the performances by the players from Kentucky, and what university you think had kind of the best representation at this year's Combine?
Oh yeah, man, I'm definitely proud of those guys, man. It's proud to say I went to the University of Kentucky, especially now, man, because we're winning a little bit now. We're getting ranked, and we're a force in the SEC now. I know when I was at UK, it was, we were kind of on the rise and things were going well, and we were ranked in the top 10 couple times, and after Coach Brooks left, we kind of went back down to the same old Kentucky, and it's hard being a Kentucky guy when you're not getting that respect. And, you can't really say anything because you're not winning. But now we're back to winning again. And I got my chest out again, So,
yeah.
It was good to see those guys, man, especially, as a running back like Ray Davis, watching him. And I think he's going to be special, man. That kid, he can play. He can play. And I think he has all the tools to be a great running back. His vision, his catching out the backfield, going in the slot, running routes, blocking. He does it all pretty well. And, watching his drills and just seeing him cut on a dime, it was awesome, man. And unfortunately I didn't get to watch a ton of the Combine this year, but I remember watching Blake Corum out of Michigan, another running back that I think is going to be really good too. And I think him and Ray Davis are very similar in their playing style, and I think he's going to do a great job as well. So, but it was good to see those Kentucky guys, and I hope they do well.
I love that analysis coming from a running back, because I thought that Blake Corum's special or something about the way he carries himself. You could just tell.
A humble guy, man. It seems like a good teammate, just a good guy. And I like to see those kind of guys make it. Same with Ray Davis. That just another good character guy, man. It's good to see those guys do well.
Yeah, that absolutely. I couldn't agree anymore. So yeah, that's awesome. Great analysis there. Looking forward to seeing what they do in the NFL. I have always seen you represent Kentucky, man, and I know that they're just as proud of having you as a representative of them as you are to represent them. So that's always cool, man. I'm glad to have a chance to show them a little love. As I was reading your website, I read that we talked about him earlier, Indiana men's basketball strength and conditioning coach Cliff Marshall. He played a role as a mentor in your life. Tell us about the importance of mentors. And for the listeners out there, just kind of more like a positive energy type of a vibe, less Combine. But what type of qualities as a leader should you carry yourself with? What type of qualities for a mentor should you look for? And what qualities did Cliff possess that were attractive to you?
Yeah, I think for me, to look up to a mentor, I think they got to have a lot of good qualities. Just a leader by example. People respect them. People look up to them, and just a very well known and likable person. And I think Cliff has all of those qualities. I don't think I've ever met a person that doesn't like Cliff Marshall, man. He's a great dude, man. And just from the time I was a young high school, college guy coming up, he's never changed, man. He's always just been like a big brother to me. And yeah, man, he's just everybody just looks up to Cliff, and I think that's why he was able to stay on at IU, because they let their coach go, but all the guys vouched to keep Cliff, and that says something about him. Like when the entire team was like, "Yo, we want Cliff Marshall here," that's and that doesn't happen too often. It's a business, bro. A coach gets fired, and a lot of times the strength coach is gone, and they're gonna bring their guy in. So.
Strength and conditioning coach world is a pretty crazy world. Very rewarding, but as you know, I mean, it can be a little stressful at times. And but Cliff Marshall, as far as a human being, I mean, you are correct. I have not met as consistent of a person as I've ever met in my life, and I admire that quality about him as much as any. It's just his consistency every single day.
Yeah.
He was always fond of he had an affinity for the fact that you played for Kentucky. You know,
Yeah.
his grassroots are in the
It is, man.
bluegrass state. So
Yeah.
that was always cool to see too, man. And I was looking for some video footage, John, to bring on for us to analyze. And I found a clip on YouTube that he had loaded up of you. I think it was bench of 415 or 405, maybe.
Okay, yeah, that was back
Yeah.
that was back in my day, man. I was a big boy then. I'm about like 215 right now. And
Wow.
like back then I used to weigh like 230, 235, something like that. So I hit 240 a few times. So like I was a big boy, man. Like now I'm like, 210, 215. Like, I talk to people, they're like, man, you play fullback? I'm like, yeah, I play fullback. I'm a little slim now, a little bit more leaner now.
What is that like? You trying to keep, maintain 230 pounds? I mean, I'm guessing a lot of eating, a lot of protein shakes, high calorie diet.
Oh yeah, I love food. I love to eat, man. And I think back then it was food there. Food was like available so much more, like especially on the road, traveling at the facility, especially in these NFL facilities, man. Like there's so much food. Like I'm taking food home, and I was able to keep my weight up. And now, like I'm vegan, I'm plant based now, which is crazy for me to say that. But I don't eat meat now, but I still enjoy a good meal, and I cook more now for myself. So that's kind of how I'm leaning up. I'm still getting after it in the gym, still running and lifting and doing all that stuff. So
What do you place as far as importance on the physical activity? I mean, you're former NFL player, current owner, Unbreakable Lifestyle, have a high affinity for health and fitness. Do you where do you place it as far as categorically in the importance of a day-to-day process?
I place it up there. I think it's just like you brush your teeth in the morning, you look after your family, take care of your business. I think take care of your health is just as important, man. Because if you don't have your health, you don't have anything. And I think as we age, naturally our bodies begin to break down, and we see in people. I'm seeing people my age, man, and like just not in great shape, and it's sad because if you just move your body a little bit and weight train and take care of yourself, you don't have to be in the gym every day, but just taking care of yourself, your diet, your nutrition, you can be on this earth a little bit longer. And I think your family, if you care about your family enough, you want to be around for your kids, and I think it's important for you to take care of yourself and just to be around for them. I think it's just selfish, right, for people that don't put the same amount of importance into their fitness.
Amen to that. Yeah. I feel like the higher you place importance on physical fitness, the less you'll have to probably deal with mental health issues. I know mental health is a big topic that is getting a lot more light.
It's a full a full spectrum, man. It's not just physical; it's mental, and it's everything. I think for me, going to the gym, when I go to the gym in the morning, sometimes I don't feel like it, but I've never left the gym and said like, "Man, why did I do that?" I get like a boost on the day, like I just an extra boost of energy, and I feel better. My mental health is better, and everything. So,
hey man, that's good. I never have either. I've never been like, man, I should have not came.
Right.
What was I thinking?
Yeah.
Too funny, but yeah, very important. So, real interesting too, because you talked earlier about training different levels of athletes. I know when we first met, you were a high school athlete, and that was in the Blue Ash facility. And I was training all levels of athletes at that time, and it was challenging. And the thing is it wasn't challenging for probably the reasons that people thought it would be challenging. I had a lot of fun with the little kids. That wasn't it was fun for me. The little kids were a blast, right? Like you as a trainer at Ignition in those days, I wanted to be put with the NFL guys, or you might take it personal, but I had a blast training little kids. I had a hard time training some high school kids. A lot of pride. I found that there was a lot more humility in the showing up and going to work training with like college and NFL guys than there was like with then there was less ego there than there was with some of the high school kids. And so I
Right.
found a lot of high school boys were harder to train. So some of the what are some of the nuances of the training? You talked earlier about training all levels of people. What are some of the nuances, and what do you enjoy as a trainer? Group training? Is there a level of like I enjoy training the youth? Is there a level that you enjoy training the most?
I like them all. Like for me, starting Ignition, I started as like an intern when I was like still a free agent in the NFL, flirting around with going back and playing or not. And I started with the it was called the Burst program. I started with the youth program, and that's where I learned. And like there'd be times like, man, I want to just train these like college guys and NFL guys, but that's kind of where you start, man. And I have a appreciation for the little kids too. Sometimes, I mean, I've trained kids as young as like 6, 7 years old, and it's like, keeping that attention. You got to keep their attention because they will wander off. They will start talking and play their own little side games, and you got to really focus on them a little bit. But it prepares you, man. It helps you just to makes you a better coach. And then, working with the older guys, sometimes you get a lot of egos. And you have to humble these kids sometimes because a lot of times even them and their parents think they're the best. They're the best thing out there. And like, especially myself, like I'm like, all right, first of all, you need to humble yourself because you got a long way to go, buddy. And just getting these kids to listen and wanting to like respect you. And even as you get into the NFL guys, same thing as egos and I always like training like the good, coachable, humble guys. And
Yeah,
so
amen.
it makes my job a lot easier.
And you were one of those. It was. I remember when because like I said, you came in. It was a one-on-one, and they ran groups there. So it was. I remember Ted telling me, he's like, I remember him telling me like, hey, this is like not even during the session times. I need you to run it. And I'm like, man, high school boy, like he's going to be. And you were one of the most humble people I had ever worked with, period, from any level. Yeah, and I actually I think I ended up straining a muscle was when I think you ended up working with Ben, but you came in and went to work every single day. But I brought that up for a reason because it is difficult to command attention. And some of these kids want to be smart ass and be like, what am I doing this for? I know you heard that shit.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know what I'm saying? And you know what you're talking about, and you're just getting long-winded, and you got to be ready to go to work and talk a lot. It's crazy.
You do, man. It's different. It's different, man. Especially with these big groups of kids, man. They want to talk and they want to mess around and play around, and you get a handful of kids that are kind of disruptive, but those are probably those are the days that you got to kind of discipline in and like make sure they're staying focused and not disrupting other kids.
Yeah. Well, it seems to me from what I've seen that Unbreakable Lifestyle's doing some unbelievable stuff, John. I don't think Ignition is doing too much anymore. And
I haven't heard much from them lately. I know they were over in Kentucky for a little bit, but I haven't. I don't know. I haven't heard much from them in a while. So
I'll tell you, whatever it's doing these days, it's certainly produced just an enormous number of just great people that I've had the opportunity to meet and the pleasure to get to know. So Ignition served a valuable purpose for the time that it was here. And absolutely. I'm glad that you're able to come into the landscape that Ignition had in the Cincinnati area and continue with your own journey and Unbreakable Lifestyle, man.
Yeah, definitely. I learned a lot from Ignition, man. That was my home for the longest time, and I felt like I spent a lot of time there, just from high school all the way up through my NFL career, man. So definitely thankful for Ignition and especially Cliff Marshall and just how much I've learned from him. And if it weren't for Cliff, I probably wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now. So definitely taking a lot of his teaching and doing it, implementing it into my program. So.
Well, shout out to Cliff Marshall because you and I share mutual respect for Cliff. So shout out to you, Cliff. If you do get a chance to hear this, man, you've made an impact on a lot of people, brother. You deserve your flowers, bro, and we got no problem giving them to you. So it's all love to Cliff Marshall. I want to take a look while I got you on here, John, at this kettlebell. It's a training video I found, the kettlebell training video.
Yeah.
It was popped up earlier. So walk us through kind of what's going on here. We talked about kind of training in the sand, injury prevention. He's doing a backward lunge. What are we training here? What type of movements are we doing? Why is a kettlebell important?
I think kettlebells are great. What it looks like he's doing right here is doing like a circuit. And I like to do a lot of circuits with my athletes and my adults. Gets the heart rate up. He's definitely going to get his heart rate up. You're doing a lot of different movements here. You're working your core. You're working strength, your shoulders, his legs, glutes. You're basically getting a full body workout in, but using one piece of equipment, which is cool. Like, you can kill a lot of time if you only have a short period of time and you want to come into the gym and knock something out quick. You can do one of these type of circuits. You're getting strength and you're getting your heart rate up as well too. So yeah, definitely good stuff.
So that's a type of exercise that you could find yourself doing?
I don't do a ton of it. I do a little bit of it. I do like to stress those muscles and like time under tension. I like doing all that stuff. Actually getting up under that bar and lifting and using the dumbbells and doing lunges and step ups and squats and shoulder press and doing sets and reps. I like to do that, but every once in a while I do like to incorporate circuits just to switch it up a little bit.
So I have one more question for you, John, before we go. Again, man, just want to thank you so much for your time. What are your thoughts on the current state of the UFL? And we talked a bit about how your popularity as a fullback was crazy, but the fullback position's really kind of non-existent. I think we saw Juszczyk this past year, played a significant role for the 49ers, but wasn't used in even in the capacity that you were used when fullbacks were a lot more traditional. Do you feel like the UFL would have been a good place for you, something you might have been interested in? And if not, what do you think about the current state of the UFL? For me, I think I'm so like if I'm in the NFL once and like that's the end all be all that I need to be in the NFL. But I think it's a great kind of a feeder system for guys that are kind of on the bubble and they get a chance to get some reps and really show what they can do. Even guys that are that have bounced around a little bit and maybe they're free agents and they're trying to get a shot back, get back in that door. I think it's a great way for guys to stay fresh and just get looked at, get some looks, man. I think it's great, man. I'm all for it. I think just like baseball and all these other sports, I think it's great to have like a minor league for football or just like other outlets for guys to just play, even if they don't make the NFL, man. The guys that love the game and want to play football, I think that's great. Absolutely. Yeah. We've had a lot of discussion on this show about the UFL, whether it's coming in to try to be the premier league in America, or is it coming in as a feeder? I don't know. But as I put time and thought into it, I'm like, the NFL had Sundays where everybody is off of work. I mean, playing it, into the late winter months where, it's cold football. As far as TV ratings and everything, the NFL just has things locked down, and it's an interesting move by The Rock to, come in. I know he has to feel like, hey, man, football is such a big deal in America. Mm-hmm. So as I've adapted his kind of his thought process, I'm like, it's interesting. I don't think he would just dive in if he did. He's a former, Division I collegiate athlete. He wouldn't dive in a
little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I think with him being over this, I think, like with the amount of respect that he has, man, I think it might be a success. Like The Rock, I think he's a good, not only like a great, personality, I think he's a great businessman as well. So I think it might be a good look. I think it will be.
Yeah. So
I think just getting any chance there's a chance that we can watch more football. I think that's always good.
Yeah, Rock is definitely a good ambassador. One more question, man, if you don't mind. What do you think about Deion Sanders and what he has going on up in Colorado and how that's kind of changed the landscape of college football?
I love it, man. I think, he's got people excited about football again and excited about especially like Colorado fans. I think, they've been down for a few years and I think a lot of us were Colorado fans like those first few weeks, man. I know I was definitely
Yep,
glued to the TV
I
watching it.
was.
It was
Yep,
one game. I was I'm like, man, it's like midnight right now. I'm still watching this game glued to the TV.
Colorado State, I
Yeah, the
think it
Colorado
was.
State game.
Great game.
Yeah, it was a great game. I'm like, man, I'm
Yeah,
sitting here like I'm a like Colorado fan right now. So,
me
but
too.
yeah,
Yeah.
I hope he's successful, man. And I think I like what he's about, man. I think the kids look up to him, and he wants these kids to be men, not just worried about what they're doing on the field, but off the field as well. I think he's doing it the right way.
Yeah, I agree with that assessment. I think that he's made it very clear and you can tell sometimes it almost kind of gets on his nerves the way they ask. Like, I made it very clear. I'm here for the whole person concept. I'm trying to,
Exactly.
I'm trying. I mean, he's never shied away from it. Like, I'm here to,
Right.
build men.
And
And
I
this
think,
is,
shoot, I think in a few years, man, I think Colorado's going to be the real deal because I think Dion he's going to start getting these recruits, and I think he's going to become, very competitive, man. All these kids are going to want to come to Colorado.
well, and with the NIL and the way he's getting his players to the money too. I mean, they're not that they're going to take that into consideration, John. If we're being honest, and it almost makes me think, was that part of why Saban's gone? He knows that. Hey, and I get his frustration. I understand. Like, he has to be sitting there thinking, I was one of the best in college football history at developing athletes in my program.
Mm-hmm.
It's not really like program based anymore. It is, I'm a great athlete. I mean, I'm going to come in, I'm going to get paid, and then I'm going to go pro. It's a business. It's a business.
Right.
Caleb Williams is a prime example. I don't know how I feel about Caleb Williams not performing at the combine, to be honest with you. Right. I think, I want to see a competitor, to be honest. I don't know.
Me too.
I want to see somebody be like,
did he have a reason? Like, I didn't follow. What was his what was the reason? He just didn't want to, or did he? I didn't see.
The answer he gave was, that's me and that's a decision my family and I came up with. He very vague. It was vague. Okay. But so if we're being honest, I mean, so if we're putting ourselves in his shoes, it's like, okay, well, Penix is probably going to throw it better than me. Nick's probably going to throw it better. I don't want them to see them. I don't want the scouts to see anybody do better than me, and I could only hurt my draft stock. That's what he's thinking.
Wow.
I'm the number one pick. Only thing I could do was certain, and that's probably the advice he was getting, right? But he didn't say that.
I don't know. I don't know if that's good advice or not, because I think these coaches want to see a guy that's not afraid of competition. And like, when the lights are on, are you gonna, are you ready? Are you gonna compete, or are you gonna just, shy away from it? So I think, I don't know. I think it's good to go out there and compete, even though you're the projected number one pick. I still think for these teams to have confidence in you, like, all right, this is our guy. Like, he wants to compete. I think you gotta go out there and actually show it against the best.
Amen. Well, that's what you said. You had to. I mean, when you got to New York, it was like, I just came. I'm here to play football. I'm here to do my job. Right. It doesn't matter what field you work in. Like, if you show up, like, hey, I'm here to work. People respect it.
Exactly.
I'm here to work. I'm on time. I'm here to work. So yes, I had some. I felt a type of way about that, and the vagueness of his answer. And it's not up to me to overanalyze Caleb Williams, but hey,
we don't know what's going on. I'm just, outsider looking in. I think it's always good to compete, and but I wish him the best of luck, man. Hopefully, it all works out for him. But I think me personally, I would go out there and show what I can do and compete. So.
Yeah. How was that whole combine experience for you? Pretty cool experience.
It was, man. It was a very cool experience, but at the same time, a lot of pressure, pretty intense, man. Just waking up in the morning at 5, 6 in the morning, you have your drug test, you have interviews, breakfast, just meetings, and just going to different spot after spot. Then you have your competition of the day or whatever, like whether it be the 225 bench press or the 40 or whatever. Every day was something different, man. But it was crazy. It was a team could pull you off to the side at any time and want to interview you, and you just got to be on at all times. So,
what was that like? Who interviewed you first? What was the first interview, and how'd it go?
I couldn't tell you what my first interview was, but I just know they ask you anything and everything. They'll put you up on the board. I remember going up on the board and having to draw out defense, or they'll put your film up there, and they might put a film that looks good, and they might put like a film that doesn't look good. You got to explain what your thought process was, and just what were you thinking on that play. So, but they'll ask you anything and everything, even stuff that doesn't have to do with football. So.
That's super cool. I mean, you're part of an NFL fraternity, John, that I know. I'm sure that in that fraternity, it's just like a near and dear thing that I'm super. Yeah, I mean, a type of fraternity. The rest of us kind of. That's why we ask the questions, because it's just a neat place that not a lot of people get to experience. So, thanks for giving us some insight on all that, man. The expertise you provided us on the show regarding training athletes. Thanks for the sponsorship. And just thanks for an awesome interview, brother. And God bless you on your journey, man. Anything to leave the listeners with?
No doubt, man. I appreciate you, man. Thanks for having me. Good luck with your podcast, man. This is a cool thing you got going, and I hope it works out well for you. But yeah, man. I'm doing this training thing now. I'm trying to grow my business, and I'm enjoying it, man. So just looking for athletes and everyday people that want to come and train. If they're in the Mason, Ohio area or Cincinnati area, I would love to work with them. Love to work with anybody. So
that is John Connor. He is the owner of Unbreakable Lifestyle. That is www.unbreakable. Is that a hyphen?
Yeah, unbreakable-lifestyle.com.
Unbreakable-lifestyle.com.
Jay Conner, Conner on Jay Conner, man. Yep.
So please get in contact with him. Check out his outfit. And he's doing amazing things within the community. And we just want to thank you so much for coming on the episode today, John. To any of our listeners out there, if you want to get some elite level training at a great price, please check him out. His company, Unbreakable Lifestyle, again, located in Cincinnati area, holds the capability to virtually train you wherever you are. So thank you again for joining us on the Timeout Podcast, where you're guaranteed to have a blast. Brother, thank you again for coming on. Take care. God bless. We love you, my friend.
Hey, same to you, man. Thank you.
Yeah. Take care.
You too.
John Connor, everybody.